All right, Doc. For this segment, we're talking about the young cores of the NBA, and we decided to put it in a tier list here. As our viewers can see, I'm going to try and break it down for everybody. So essentially, up here at the Future Dynasty, these are the guys that, they already got their really good core, they're superstars. Maybe in the next 2 to 3 years, they're going to be controlling the league. Maybe they're going to be dominant. They're going to be the dynasties. Below that, we have good. Good, essentially, what I think is they've got some good pieces. They're still working on it. Maybe they're a guy away from being a contender, or they're just, they're working their way up. They're still pretty young. Average, I would say, they're missing maybe 2 to 3 guys, maybe even, 1 to 2, but they're not really like contenders yet. They still got a long ways to go. Poor is you still really need to be building through the draft, try and get those pieces, really develop them, and start again. Obviously, would imply that you might want to tear everything down and just rebuild it, or kind of describing as young cores would be anybody who's 24 and younger, who is really a part of the core of the team. Who you probably have 4 to 5 guys in the rotation that are all pretty young, who are seeing significant time and making significant contributions. So, Doc D, why don't you start us off with the Washington Wizards? Where are you putting them?
I'm going to put them in the poor category. I know it's still very early in their rebuild, and Bilal Coulibaly, I think, has a lot of potential. Alexander Sarr probably had the worst summer league of all time. And JD, you and I were never really high on him to begin with. We kind of think that he's soft as butter. Defensively, I don't think Sarr is going to be bad. But I just I haven't seen any amazing talent or potential from the Wizards yet. But who knows? Maybe Sarr comes out this year and he's a world beater. I think Coulibaly is going to always be a consistent 3-and-D kind of wing. I think he's probably their most solid pickup still, depending on how Sarr turns out. I know they have Keyshawn George as well, and what's his name? Bud Harrington or something? Bud Carrington as well. Carrington. So we'll see. It just doesn't look like a very strong young core at the moment. That could change, but that's where I got him.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I'd put him in that same category as well. I do kind of like Bub Carrington. It's going to be interesting to see what he kind of turns out to be. I liked him going into the draft, and he looked like he had a solid summer league. But moving on to the Chicago Bulls, they're a team that have kind of been stagnant for a little bit, but they just acquired Josh Giddey through a trade, as we know. And I think Josh Giddey has potential to break out this upcoming season. They got Matas Buzelis, who a lot of people are really liking, who had a pretty decent summer league. They've got Jalen Smith, who I believe is 24 years old. Kobe White, who's 24, who had a breakout season this last year.
It's crazy to think Kobe White's only 24.
I know he's been around for a little bit, but he had a great year last year in my opinion, and he's going to get only better. Patrick Williams, who's pretty decent. What else do they got? They just got THT, who's.
I think Patrick Williams sucks personally. Like for being the 4th overall pick, he has never turned into anything that they needed him to be. He's been a complete disappointment.
That's a good point. But their main guys, I think that Giddey could be decent. I think Kobe White is very good. Where are you stacking him up?
Average. I think that Josh Giddey and Kobe White are going to be a great combination moving forward. I like Matas Buzelis because we've talked about him before. He's that Swiss Army knife. He's a big who can do everything, and he's a very defensive-minded shooting forward as well, who can play 3, 4, or 5 if you really want him to. When Giddey was playing without SGA last year, he put up 19 and 9. I would not be surprised if he had very similar numbers with the Bulls.
You might want to watch him for most improved player of the year, even.
Yeah, I think he could be a sneaky pick for that. I absolutely agree with you, man. Absolutely. Because like people don't understand that he's a natural one who was playing the two. Like he's always been the guy who is, always flirting with these triple doubles, and he has a great frame, like good basketball IQ, but he knows how to create and facilitate offense. So he's going to be perfect for the Bulls.
Well, what do you make of the Timberwolves? And you're probably thinking, wait a sec, they've got Julius Randle now, they've got Rudy Gobert. They're an older team, right? Even Edwards, but Edwards is only 23. Who else do they got on that roster?
Have to be like close to a future dynasty, right? They have Rob Dillingham. Not how old's Naz Reid? He's not very old. Jaden McDaniels.
Naz Reid's 24.
Yeah, and Jaden McDaniels is pretty young too. Like Anthony
23.
Edwards is. I really think that he's that guy. I totally do. I think they have a great young core. They could totally like manhandle the league for a couple years if all those guys hit their prime at the same time.
Terrence Shannon had a really good summer league, and this preseason, this most recent game, it looked like Dillingham had a pretty good game and might see, I'm not really sure what they're going to do with him this upcoming year, if he's going to see any significant minutes, but
he's going to have to.
Seems like he's going to be pretty good.
They're going to have to play him.
They'll
probably come off. Well, they're going to. Who else are they going to play? They have to have a backup.
Well, they've got DiVincenzo now.
Yeah, but he's not going to run point guard for him.
I guess they do have to have that backup.
Dillingham is going to come off the bench for Conley. Mm-hmm. He's going to have to play. And he's in a great position because Conley's a professional and probably one of the most underrated point guards in the league. I think he's a great guy to learn from. I think that I'm excited to see that. But yeah, they're all the way up there for me. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What do you think about the Rockets?
Ooh. Alperen Sengun. They got Green. They have Thompson, Jabari Smith Jr., Cam Whitmore. I'm probably missing someone, but they got
Reed Shepherd,
and they got Reed Shepherd. They got a bunch of guys, man.
No, it's unbelievable. Tari Easton.
Yeah, they have a great young core. They're definitely like good. Like they're a team that is going to consistently be making the playoffs, and they're going to be dangerous. Especially if Amen Thompson really starts to become the player that we think he is. Oh boy, next to Reed Shepherd too. The league better watch out. Like they're going to be really good.
See, for me personally, I'd put them in the future dynasty. I think that they're going to be that good. They've got so many good young guys that I really think Şengün is going to be an all-star in the upcoming years. Green looks like he's really broken out from last year. We'll see what he does this year, but he seems great. And if Amen Thompson continues to grow, he could be a top 15 player in the league in the future.
I really think he could too. Especially if they slot him at the one, like his natural position. Ooh, that kid is good. And just hyper athletic. All right, who we got next?
So we've got the OKC Thunder.
Is SGA under 24?
He's 25.
Okay.
But they've got Holmgren. They've got Jalen Williams. They've got the other Williams. They've got Wallace from last year. Topic that they just got this year. And
I mean, they're good. They're good now.
Mitchell.
Who's
that guy from Weber State? Didn't they get that guy from Weber State?
Dylan Mitchell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dylan Mitchell. He was good.
He is.
He's good in the summer league.
He's a very, very exciting player to watch. He can do a little bit of everything, and I like players like that. I mean, dude, it would almost be sacrilegious to say that they're not a future dynasty because, like, aren't they trending in that direction?
Yeah.
Like, a lot of analysts have them as the number one team in the West next year. Like, that projection is there for a reason. Like, they have to be up there.
They are the dynasty for sure. They've got that
Sam Presti,
Jalen Williams. I know he really has done it, and he still has draft picks coming.
Mm-hmm. He's a genius, absolute genius, with how everything unfolded. Like, kudos to him. He's He is one of the best general managers in the NBA, period. And it's like not even a discussion.
Hmm. So, Doc, the Orlando Magic to me, they're a very intriguing team. I think Boncaro is the real deal,
I do too.
but you can't forget about Wagner. Wagner's been great. There's their duo, and they're just 21. They've got Suggs, who's becoming a defensive guy. We
Hmm.
still have to see what Black becomes.
Hmm.
It's coming into his second year. He's probably going to see some meaningful minutes due to the fact that they just cut that one guy, Markel Fultz, right?
Yeah, I think so.
It might be interesting to see that. They've got De Silva, who seem to have a pretty good summer league and that they're very intrigued about. That's their rookie. And, they've got Howard from last year as well. What do we make of them?
To me, they're either like they're definitely good, and when we say good, like we're not talking like they're good. Like that's a team that's always going to be knocking on the door. Like they are going to be in the playoffs consistently. They already are making it that way. Paulo Banchero is going to continue to get better. Franz Watt, like you said, they have Wagner as well. Anthony Black, he is taking some time. We're really going to have to see what he turns into. But, dude, this is a loaded team of scrappy guys.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're awesome. They're, like, so our listeners and our watchers, good does not mean that you are just run-of-the-mill, all right? Like, that's a good place to be, honestly. They're going to be knocking on the door for quite some time.
It's just that tier below.
Mm-hmm.
So would you say that they're better than the Rockets? Should we kind of reevaluate this? Would you rather be in the Magic's position or the Rockets' position moving forward?
I think that the Rockets have more talented young players because they just have, like, when they Higgle, that was a steal. I think that the Magic are clearly the better team now. Yeah, I mean, we could reevaluate that too. I'm not trying to slide Paulo Banchero, man, or Franz.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Like they're incredible. They really are. I mean, we could swap the Rockets and the Magic. I'm all about that. I'm about that swap.
Maybe we move him down just to here.
Yeah, okay. I like it.
They're knocking on, those two are knocking on the door, but the Thunder have
the
that
Thunder and the Wolves
superstar
are going to
list.
have a stronghold for
Wolves
a while.
got Anthony Edwards. Yep. So what do we make of the Memphis Grizzlies? Interestingly enough, John Morant, 24. JJJ, 24.
What? And they just got Zach Edey. They have Desmond Bain.
GG Jackson. GG Jackson last year.
Mm-hmm. Dude, they picked him up in like the 40s, and he is incredible. I can't believe he slipped so far down. They're in the good tier as well. Like they're a team that's always going to be consistently making the playoffs, who I don't think that you can look past at all. And I think that if John Morant comes back and has learned anything, then you could even elevate them depending on how he looks this year. I want to see what John Morant looks like outside of the drama. Is he going to be a player where we look at him 15 years from now and we think, oh man, Ja was so great, but ... or is he going to be that player? Like he was supposed to be the face of the league, before all of that gun nonsense started coming out. And then the league kind of pivoted towards Anthony Edwards, but they were talking about Morant being the future of the NBA. I still think he could be the face of the league if he cleans his act up a little bit. And I'm sure he has. I'm excited to see him, but they're a dangerous team.
They are.
I mean, less than 2 years ago, 3 years ago, they were like second in the West.
Yep, and I think they're going to be knocking on the door again this upcoming season if they can all stay healthy.
Oh,
especially Edey. If Edey stays healthy, I think he's going to be Rookie of the Year. But the Atlanta Hawks, yes, we're
gonna have to do another pod on that.
We'll have to talk about that. So the Hawks, interestingly enough, are one of the younger cores as well.
I know
they've got Reese Shea, who's 19, number 1 pick. They've got Dyson Daniels, who they just acquired, who's 21. He had a pretty good FIBA, debut showing, and Jalen Johnson, who's coming off a great year, I think averaging 16
Mhm.
points a game
Yeah,
this last season.
he looks amazing. And then they have Kobe
He's a diamond
Buffkin
in the
too,
rough.
right?
Yep. And Onyeka Okongwu, he's pretty decent, and I'm hoping to see what Kobe Buffkin becomes. I think with DeJounte Murray leaving, he has potential to have more minutes.
Hmm.
Where do you put them, though?
I just don't
Any of
have a
these
lot of faith in
without Trey Young? What are these guys?
average.
Better than the
Because,
Wizards?
oh, yeah. Yeah, you could even drop the Wizards to start again because, like, I really think the Sar pickup was, like, really bad. He's just not the guy I would have went for. And that's just kind of the history of the Wizards. They always are shooting themselves in the foot. I think Jalen Johnson is the best out of those guys that we just discussed. I don't think Zachary Risachet is going to come out and I don't think he'll be rookie of the year. I just don't. I don't think that he is that great. But we've talked about how last year was a weaker class, but I think a lot of these teams and organizations didn't do their homework, honestly.
Could be. We'll have to find out. The Hornets, they've got LaMelo Ball, obviously, who's been a little bit injury prone, but when he's healthy, he seems
That's
like
the
a star.
problem. That's the problem.
And they've got Brandon Miller, T-John Salon. They've got who else do they have? Smith Jr., who I had high hopes for, but he hasn't been the best so far. What do you make of them?
They're in that good tier for sure because I think Brandon Miller is going to be the best player on that team here in the next couple of years.
Should I put him behind the other three?
His incredible run, his rookie season was overshadowed by the incredible narrative of Wembanyama versus Chet Holmgren, which was box office. But he had a very quiet, incredible year as a rookie. He really did. That kid is going to be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if LaMelo Ball's knees can hold up or his ankle or whatever the issues are there.
I would put them, as bad as this sounds, because I think they have potential to be incredible. They've got two guys that I think could be superstars. But as bad as it sounds, I think LaMelo's so injury prone that I think they're still missing 2 to 3 guys that could be really good. I don't know what to make of T-John Salon yet. I don't think he's really shown anything right now. But I would even put them in average because I still think they're missing some guys. They've got 2 really good guys, and the rest I'm iffy about.
Yeah, Brandon Miller for sure. And I mean, if you could just turn the injuries off LaMelo Ball, I mean, they'd be up there with future dynasty if we could get that kid to play and not get hurt. All right, we have Toronto.
What do you make of them?
He has an argument to be an all-star. No one else on that team is impressive.
Well,
you could even put them in poor, honestly. Well, no, because Scotty Barnes is better than everyone on the Wizards.
Scotty Barnes is all-star caliber. RJ Barrett averaged 20 points a game with a 50, 40, 80 shooting. I just got Jacoby Walter.
I know.
Grady Dick could be decent.
They have Ochai Agbaji too, Grady Dick. I'm just not impressed by anyone besides Scotty Barnes.
Not even
Scotty Barnes is legit. They have Quentin Grimes too, don't they? Or did Grimes get sent to the Mavs?
I thought Grimes was still on the Knicks.
No, Grimes is not on the Knicks anymore. I'm thinking of Quickly. That's who I'm thinking of. Emmanuel Quickly.
Quickly's 25, but Quickly is pretty good.
Yeah, I still think their best player is Scotty Barnes, and
yeah, I do too. I
just don't see them cracking. I don't think they're better than anyone in good. Yeah, that's a good place for them. They're not better than
all-star young guy.
Any of the teams above them.
Okay, fair enough. What do you make of the Pistons, Doc? Are they going to continue struggling this year?
I don't think so because they just fired everyone. And their whole front office just got completely overhauled. So I expect there to be some major changes, but we should put them in the start again because they literally just started again. Like they fired their coach, they their general, I think they got a new general manager. Like this team has been floundering for way too long, and it's to the point where the owner was like, okay, like when you're getting sell the team chance, you got problems, but he also took the steps to correct those problems. So I think that that's perfect because they literally are starting again.
Fingers crossed for them. I think that they have so much untapped potential with Cunningham and Ivy and Thompson. I think that they should kind of do a teardown and focus on maybe one or two of those guys.
Well, I just don't understand why they keep drafting these forwards who can't shoot. Like, what are they doing? They got Asar Thompson. They got his name's escaping me. The guy they drafted this year.
Ron Holland.
Yes, another guy who is not a good floor spacer. And Cade Cunningham, to operate efficiently, needs floor spacers around him. And they just have gone in they pivoted away from that, and it doesn't make any sense to me. But they restart garbage for a long time. I'm glad that they made changes for that fan base. That fan base is passionate. They deserve to have a team that's going to be competitive.
Yeah, I agree with that. So I threw the Nets in here, Doc. I threw them in here because they've got Cam Thomas, who's one of the major guys at 22 years old. Noah Clowney, who they got last year, who could be one of their future centers. Jalen Wilson, who had a really good summer league. This is his second year, but he had a really good summer league. They just acquired Killian Hayes and Zaire Williams. Dariq Whitehead, was one of the top prospects of a couple years ago, but has kind of been injury prone, so we still have yet to see from him. I think for me, Doc, I am not too high on them. I would also put them in the start again tier. I just think that they don't have really any key pieces, and they just need to try and go through the draft and find a star. What do you say?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they literally started again. You're right. They're probably going to be the worst team in the league next year. So they pivoted. They realized they were not going to get the guy they wanted to pair with Mikal Bridges, which is why they traded him. They just completely tore it down to the studs. And, they got 7 draft picks out of it. So good for them. That's awesome. And they got Bojan, who they can flip later to a team who's going to be struggling, who's trying to compete. They're in a good position draft pick-wise, I believe. But, yeah, they needed to start again, and they did. And that's the kind of – yeah. And honestly, guys, we don't want you to think we're crapping on the Pistons or the Nets, but these two teams who are in the start again tier literally just started again. This makes a lot of sense. That's where they should be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, for the Pacers, for me, Doc, moving on, I think the Pacers, you don't always think that they're a young core, but Halliburton's only 24. And Nembhard, who I was really high on because last year in the playoffs, when Halliburton was out, Nembhard was going insane. He's only 24. They just acquired Johnny Furphy, who's 19 in the second round. We're going to see what he kind of becomes. Wiseman, who, he's coming into his 3rd or 4th year. He's been struggling a little bit, but we still have yet to see if this guy has any untapped potential. Benedict Mathurin, who I really like, he had a really good rookie showcase.
He's really good. Mm-hmm. He's a really good player.
And Aaron Naismith and Jarris Walker, who both of us really liked, coming in last year when the Jazz were trying to get him, I think at least. And then Ben Shepherd, who saw some pretty decent, significant minutes in the playoffs.
You got to put them at the top, right?
Future dynasty.
Halliburton is just, they should be at the top.
Over Memphis, over Ja Morant, over Amin Thompson.
Tyrese Halliburton is going to be better than Ja Morant.
That is an interesting take. I don't know if I agree
I,
with that one.
that's fine. I've been riding this Tyrese Halliburton train ever since that kid was a rookie, and you know that. And I came out and I said, what was it, 2 years ago? I said, this kid's the best point guard in the league. And I will not deviate from that. He is proving me right every time he steps on that court. He's awesome. Now, with that said, they got super lucky in the playoffs because every team they faced was injured, until they ran into Boston, who just trounced them. But I think that they have an incredible young core. Benedict Mathurin is super underrated. Nembhard held it down in the postseason too. Like he showed that he's a great floor general. Next to Halliburton, they might have the best floor generals in the NBA.
And you know what, Doc? I don't think this is a hot take. He was I think he was a free agent this past season. I was hoping, folks at home know that we're Utah Jazz fans. I was hoping the Jazz would just give him a significant amount of money just to get him to come over. I think he's that good. I think you should try and look at who's the guy that went to New York from Dallas who became a superstar?
Jalen Brunson.
He's not as good as Jalen Brunson, but it's who are the Jalen Brunsons each year?
He's not even in the same stratosphere as Jalen Brunson,
dude. But
Jalen Brunson is the literal
for guys
king of New York City right now.
Dude,
pay your respects, JD.
He was the king, but he wasn't the king until he moved over. Until he saw significant time outside of Dallas. I thought Dallas was very goofy not giving him a good amount of money. And I think Nembhard should have got a significant amount of money. I think he proved it. He was amazing in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And that's why he got the bag from Indiana. Dallas knows they fumbled the ball on Jalen Brunson.
He didn't get the bag. He didn't get the bag from Indiana. He got 14 or 15 mil or something.
That's pretty good as a backup point guard. That's pretty good.
He should be starting. He's
not going to start next to Tyrese Halliburton.
I know. That's why the Jazz should have got him. They could have told him you'll be the starter, and
the Jazz wanted to focus all of their money into Lauri Markkanen, and that was the right decision. That's what they should have done with their money. They should have made sure that there was no.
I think you might have cut out, Doc.
Oh, I said that's exactly what the Jazz should have done. Was they took their cap space and they used it to lock up Lauri Markkanen, who is a coveted asset because you can plug him into any team, and he is going to make you a championship contender if you're not. If you're competitive already. I mean, look at Porzingis. Porzingis pushed Boston over the edge. Lauri Markkanen is that kind of player too. So I think the Jazz did the right thing in locking him up long term. But Nembhard would have been great to have on the. Oh my gosh, that would have been amazing.
Just wait. I think this guy is gonna. If he had the time and the resources, he could be intense. But since we're talking about the Jazz, why don't we just move on to them? Why don't you tell us who's on that roster and where do you think they should be?
This hurts. Because the Jazz are average at best. Cody Williams, Kyle Filipowski, Isaiah Collier, Keontae George, Walker Kessler. I'm missing someone. Bryce Sensabaugh. I think that's all 7 of our boys, right? If we're going to hit, we're probably going to hit on 2 of them. If we're lucky, we'll hit on 3 of the 6. I think Kessler has already established himself as one of the best defensive centers in the league. He's not a guy I'm worried about. But if we're talking young core moving forward, we don't really have any guys that are jumping off the page yet. Now, Keontae, I am fully expecting him to come out this season like a bat out of hell. I think he's going to have a giant leap. Taylor Hendricks, I need to see some of that confidence. I need him to be confident on the floor. I need him to play his size. I don't want him playing like he's 6'1". I want to see him playing like a 6'9" defensive menace, like what we know he could potentially be. I think Cody Williams is going to be a really just sneaky good player. I think Filipowski has a lot of good skills that you don't normally see in big men. But if we're, like I said, if we're lucky, we'll hit 3 of the 6. But we're just average at the moment. We don't have like a Cooper Flag. We don't have a Victor Wembanyama. We don't have an Amen Thompson. We don't have a Scoot Henderson. You know, we don't have these guys. Speaking of Victor Wembanyama, we know where he needs to go.
Where does he need to go?
The top. He's going to be one of the greatest, barring injury. He has the potential to be one of the greatest players we've ever seen.
I agree with that. The only thing is they don't have anybody else that is even intriguing on that roster besides Castle. And Castle, I don't know what to make of him yet.
Devin Vassell is pretty good. Stephon Castle.
Devin Vassell
is a really decent, serviceable. I don't know about
I would
that.
put them
here. No, you can't put the Spurs. You want them up here. Have to go to the top. Yes. Dude, they could have no one else but Victor Wembanyama, and it would still bring them to the top, in my opinion.
Wembanyama is incredible. Wembanyama is going to be incredible. The only thing is they are still missing 3 to 4 pieces. I would not even put them in this echelon because these guys are already contending. The San Antonio Spurs are going to take like 4 years until they start.
Yeah, but we're talking about future dynasties too. And like they have like they're projected to have like 9 and 10 this year as well. Like they're just going to continue to add these pieces. Like, but they have Victor. They have Victor, and Victor is enough to put them there, in my opinion.
All right, that's fine.
All right.
What do you, as the final team, what do you make of the Blazers?
I'm still waiting to see what Scoot Henderson is going to do. He looked pretty good towards the end of the season, but he was not, like, he didn't have a very good rookie year. And hopefully he comes in with a chip on his shoulder. I like Shaedon Sharpe a lot.
I do too. I think Sharpe's good.
Mm-hmm.
They've got that Banton too. I don't know if you remember Banton, but towards the end of this last season, Banton was playing. He was playing pretty good. I think he was a point guard. He's just like a big point guard and was playing alongside Scoot, or maybe Scoot was out for a little bit and he was.
They just drafted Klingon too.
Yep.
So like I think that as long as Scoot and Klingon and Sharpe can hold it down, they got 3 of the 5 they already need. I don't know what to make of Scoot. That's the problem. I want Scoot to be so good, so bad. Like I don't know what it is about him, but there's something that makes me just like cheer for him. But like right now, they just seem like they're average to me. I don't know.
Where would you place them? Are they better than the Raptors, Bulls, Hawks? Are they better than the Jazz?
They're better than the Jazz, yeah. I think that they have a better young core than the Hawks. I don't think they're better than the Bulls or the Raptors have Scotty Barnes. That guy is literally like
he's an all-star.
Knocking on the door as an all-star. Yeah. Wasn't he an all-star last year?
He was.
Yeah. And Josh Giddey, I'm telling you, that new environment where they just hand him the rock and they're like, hey, go do all that stuff we know you can do. That's going to help his confidence a ton. And like I said, when he was playing when SGA was injured last year, he averaged 19 and 9. Like I would fully expect him to do that with the Bulls.
Thank you for watching another episode of the Full Court Press NBA podcast. For the full podcast, click the link below and subscribe for more hoops content.